Hello, scholars. It is Friday, April 3rd, 2020. This is your problem of the day and writing prompt. We are going to start with our problem of the day. Okay. There are 4 books on a shelf. In the model, the shaded books represent nonfiction books. Here is my model. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 books. I'm noticing some very important information. It tells me that the shaded books represent nonfiction books. So I'm going to go ahead, underline that. I'm going to make a note of it right here. Shaded books are nonfiction. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and read my question. Which expression represents the fraction of the books on the shelf that are nonfiction? Well, I already know that the nonfiction books are the shaded books. So I know I have 3 nonfiction books because those are the books that are shaded. I'm going to start with our denominator. So remember, our denominator represents how many there are in total. So here, how many books do I have in total, shaded and non-shaded? I have 4 books. So 4 is going to be my denominator because that is how many I have in total. Okay, now I'm going to figure out how I can represent the shaded books or the nonfiction books as an expression, something that looks like these answer choices. So first, I'm going to show what each individual book represents. So if I have this one book, and I'm only talking about this one, but I have 4 in total, that's going to give me a fraction of 1/4. So I know that this book represents 1/4. Okay, now I'm going to do this book. I'm also including this in my expression because it's shaded. That's going to be another 1/4. I'm going to skip this non-shaded book because the question's not asking me about that. It's only asking me about the nonfiction books. So this is not going to be included in my expression down here. I'm going to go on to the next one. That one's going to be 1/4. So now I see that I have 1, 2, 3 nonfiction books. That means that I have 3/4 of my books are nonfiction. So remember, the numerator is how many are shaded or how many we've selected from the total to talk about. So we are only talking about 1, 2, 3 out of the 4 books. So that gives me 3/4. Okay, so now I know all of these things. I know that each one of these books represents 1/4. I know that the total number of shaded books is 3/4. So I have a lot of information. So what I want you to do right now is pause the video and check these expressions and decide which one you think it is before I go over the answer. So pause the video now and see if you can figure out which one it is. Okay, now we're going to go through them together. So let's go through the answer choices because that is a very smart thing to do. So let's look at A. A says 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4. Well, that looks like a pretty good answer, right? Because I have 1/4, 1/4. This we know is 1/4, and this is 1/4. So that would equal 4/4. Because remember, we add our numerators, but we keep the denominator when it's the same denominator. So that does represent the total number of books, but it doesn't represent the number of nonfiction books. So that one is trying to trick me. I'm going to look at B. B is 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4. Okay, so this one looks a lot like what we wrote up here. If I add these all together, I have 1, 2, 3. I add my numerator. I don't add my denominator. That does give me this same 3/4. So that's looking like the right answer. I'm going to make sure, just check the other answers just to make sure. Here, I have 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3. Okay, I can eliminate this answer because I know that even though there are 3 nonfiction books, there are 4 in total, so my denominator needs to be 4. So that's not the right answer. I'm going to look at D. 3 holes plus 3 holes plus 3 holes. Well, that's just saying 3 plus 3 plus 3. I know that's not right because that equals 9. And that's not my right answer. So I can eliminate D. So let's go back to A and B. These both looked like really good answers. But I need to go back to my question. Which expression represents the fraction of the books of the shelf that are nonfiction? So I'm only talking about the nonfiction books, which are this one, and this one. So I know that that's only 3/4, not 4/4, because I'm not including this fiction book. So I know that B is the right answer. If you got B2, give yourself some snaps, give yourself a pat on the back. You just worked hard. Okay. Let's go to our writing prompt. Okay, I think this is going to be a fun writing prompt today. So, the writing prompt is, write the recipe of your favorite meal. Explain to someone in steps how to create your favorite thing to eat. Or, if you want to, you can come up with your own recipe. Make sure to include what someone will need to make the meal and what steps they should follow. So we'll look at my example below to help you out and give you an idea of what to write. So you're writing the recipe to your favorite meal. You're going to explain to someone how they would make this. You're going to make sure to include what someone will need to make the meal. So that's ingredients or any tools that they might need and what steps they should follow. So I want you to send a picture of what you write to your teacher. But if you also make this food, send them a picture of that too. I'm sure they'd love to see it. So this is my example. So this is my writing prompt. So I wrote, today we are making peanut butter toast. You will need bread, peanut butter, bananas, raisins, and honey. Step 1. Take a piece of bread and toast it for 6 minutes until it gets a little crunchy. Step 2. After you take the bread out of the toaster, spread peanut butter on the toast with a knife. Step 3. Slice a banana into thin slices and put the banana on the toast on top of the peanut butter. Step 4. Now put the raisins on top of the banana. Step 5. Lastly, drizzle honey on top. Step 6. Enjoy. So you can number your steps just like this to explain how to make your favorite thing to eat. And I encourage you to send this to your teacher, and also, if you actually make it, to send them a picture of whatever you make. Okay, that's your problem of the day and writing prompt for today, Friday, April 3rd. Have an awesome day and a great weekend.